Don't know where you're at, but here in Kentucky, we've hit a cool spell. I mean, cool for August. It's in like the low 80s as highs for us lately. Something I can definitely enjoy is coming out here on our property to our dry stone bridge. We're gonna complete it. So we have to level out the yard by our cottage. It's creek bed, so it kind of goes at a, slight decline towards the creek. And we're gonna get the bobcat and try to level it out. And with some of the dirt, as we try to adjust our yard, we plan on finishing this project. I'm excited. And as we dig underneath our house, we plan on what rock we find, we plan on using on the bridge further. So we found some pretty good rocks. Some pretty smooth, big rocks that will be wonderful for completing this project. So something that was important to me to talk about as I begin posting about herbalism again, about what I do and how I practice. One of the main talking points I wanted to discuss was how you can kickstart your own journey into herbalism. Years ago, when I was freshly out of high school, I was convinced that I was going to be in college for music. I played piano for years. I taught for a short while at the School of Bluegrass up there in Columbus on High Street. It came out of a small church, but it's just something that I was doing, was actively teaching piano, and something I thought, well, that was it. That was obviously the straightforward process where I was going to go. But instead, I ended up doing herbalism. There was no one around this area here in Kentucky that could teach me. Surprising, right? Because it's Kentucky. It's full of herbs and things. You'd think it would be. But no, instead, I had to go to a college called, and I did it all online, called the American College of Healthcare Sciences. And then while I was doing that, I was collecting herbals, doing online research. So a good, easy way for you to start, if you don't want to go into the student loans, you don't want to go into the whole process of enrolling into college, what a lot of people do is find a teacher locally, someone who can take them on as an apprentice. So I'm a master herbalist. I could theoretically have an apprentice. No positions open for that right now. Well, if you're going to be my apprentice, you're going to be helping work on my cottage at the same time. No, not really, as that's what I'm doing most of the time. You could be an apprentice, or you could be self-taught and do some online research. Sometimes there's free classes. Find some local information if there are classes nearby. I've taught classes in the past. I'm planning on implementing that again, starting that back up. In order to start, while I was waiting on my college information to begin and all that, I started collecting herbals. And one of my most recent pickups that are my favorites is this. This is a great herbal that also, if you're into like bushcrafting or survivalism, check this out. It's got a lot of useful everyday knowledge as well as emergency situation knowledge that you can glean from it. So everything from how to treat blisters, building your own first aid kit, to things like how to recognize septic shock, cleaning wounds, binding wounds, binding up wounds. It's got herbal formulas. It's got illustrations. I'm about illustrations. Listen, we gotta have it. So it doesn't just have herbal illustrations. How to stabilize a knee. Not everyone knows how to do that. Basic tourniquet. I just love this book. It's been useful. Thankfully, I've not had to use any of this knowledge. But if someone was like, Tina, we need to get out of here right now. Brian said, pack your bags. We gotta leave. This is going right beside my Bible. Well, now you got to think about not just being a store-bought herbalist. And when I say store-bought herbalist, that's my own term for it. You're ordering your herbs online. What about walking the fields to identify? Because my college, it would tell you a little bit about, like, obviously the herbs, what they look like, but it was more about like growing it. Here in Kentucky, especially in the situation. I think I was living in a tent, then I was living in a shed, then a camper. I wasn't set up for a big garden. I wanted to identify. Find yourself a good identification guide. If you have any questions, always reach out to someone who maybe has more experience identifying plants. You know, there are Facebook communities. Always just double check. And then a good way of double checking too is put in the name and then put lookalike. So say I didn't know it was a brown-eyed Susan, but I had an idea that it wasn't a black-eyed Susan because I've seen black-eyed Susans before. This has multiple stems and it just doesn't look like a black-eyed Susan. It looks similar, but not quite. So then you would put in black-eyed Susan lookalike, and then you would scroll through, and then you'd find some more information. You know, just having the ability to research what your plant is. So Peterson's Field Guide to Medicinal Plant. These are okay. This, while I was in college at Shawnee, I was taking a botany class. It was like a plant identification course. And this was one of the books that we had to have. It doesn't have every plant. I feel like the Peterson's medicinal plants has more in it. Is that weird? I just feel like it does. And then this one is a recent one. It's one I just recently picked up. The U.S. Department of the Army Pocket Guide to Edible Wild Plants. It's kind of interesting. Like I said, I still am so partial to my Peterson's Field Guide. Okay. But this is pretty useful too. Okay. Start with plants in your yard to identify. Then from there, you can branch off to the harder things. If you're doubtful, don't use it. Because if you're doubtful and you pick a plant and you make a tea, you might have some issues later. Don't pick a plant with your bare hands until you've identified it. Because while most plants are going to be fine, some plants aren't. I mean, you're going to find out right away with things like stinging nettle. But things like poison hemlock, you might not find out as quick. And it can cause blistering. It can cause sunburns. It can even lead up to cancer if you really just have a heyday in a field full of it. So be careful. Wear your proper protective gear if you're out foraging, you know, especially if you're a newbie. And there ain't no shame in being a newbie. Like I said, I'm a master herbalist, but my channel's called Newbie Homesteader. So, but you want to wear your snake boots. But anyways, you'll learn. So as I post on the channel, actually this month I'm going to be posting a culinary video. Stay for that. Let's hope that turns out to be all right. Okay. Bear with me because I'm new to outdoor cooking. I'm really getting into this. Okay. And then I'll also be doing some quick DIY herbal things as well. I'm also planning on doing some basic identification ones as well. So yeah, comment below what you want to see, what you're currently doing. Y'all stay safe. Talk to you soon.